Okay, well, welcome to your last day, everybody. Thanks for sticking with it for all 5 days and being engaged and participatory. If you stay with me today, pay attention. You're going to get a good reward at the end of it. So it's worth it. Okay, so we're on our last day of sensory physiology, and I think it's really appropriate to do the last sense as taste, because as you can see on these pictures, taste kind of can involve all of the senses that we've been learning about, right? If you look at this yummy bowl of ramen noodles, what do you see? What sensory systems do you need in order to enjoy that bowl? Smell, yep. The aromas. Vision, yep. What else? Taste, obviously.
Hearing the noodles pull out of the broth.
Yeah. So hearing, in Japanese culture, it's actually polite if you're at someone's house that you slurp the noodles really loudly, because that tells the chef that you really enjoyed it. So hearing is one. What about, did we cover all of them? What about touch or somatosensory sensation?
Oh yeah, you can feel the texture of the noodles.
Yep.
Cooked right.
Texture of the noodles, and there's all kinds of textures on here, right? What about somatosensory system also cares about what else? What other stimuli? Heat. Awesome. You guys are on top of it today. Okay. So Chef Cousteau kind of summarizes this really well. Good food is like music you can taste, color you can smell. There's excellence all around you. You only need to be aware to stop and savor it. So that's the power of taste. Okay. So the ability of us to taste the world gives us so much joy, right? From an early age, we can enjoy how things taste, and all animals need to eat. If you don't eat, you die, but it also gives us a lot of joy. I love ramen noodles. Do you guys know what real ramen noodles taste like? Have you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. It's not just the instant noodles, right? Can you guys just shout out some of the foods that you guys love? Sushi?
Oh,
Nice.
sushi's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese food.
Oh.
Well, it's not really Chinese food, like
Yeah.
American Chinese food.
Okay. All right.
Quite
All
well.
right. Okay. Anything
Fish.
else?
Pizza.
Fish, pizza.
Hot dogs and beans.
Uh-huh. How about
Kool-Aid.
someone in the back? Favorite foods?
Nice sauce.
Cheeseburger. Nice. Anything?
Popcorn.
Popcorn. Cool.
Corned beef hash.
Nice.
Arugula.
You just like everything.
Yeah. I eat a lot of food, man.
Okay. So I think we can all agree that taste is really joyful, and it gives us, a lot of happiness. But why is it important? Why do we need it?
To know what's poisonous to put in our body.
Yeah. Anyone else? I think you can answer all of my questions.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I'm
What about, okay, we can identify foods that are good for us, and also yeah. Okay, so we can identify nutritious foods. We can kind of taste the different nutrients in them. We can also taste it when food is bad, right? If you ate the sandwich in the dark, you would probably immediately spit it out.
Oh, yeah.
And so your taste system is kind of your first defense against these bad foods. And it's also the first, gateway into good foods. What does your brain tell your body to do when you eat something really savory? Keep eating it, swallow, right? Produce saliva. These are all really appropriate responses that you need to be able to do to enjoy and digest these foods. And similarly, I think we already touched upon it. The brain needs to generate a gagging reflex, or you need to throw up if you ate something bad, and this all starts with taste. Okay, so going back to Victor Nader's favorite diagram, how do our senses work? How does taste work? Let's start with the stimuli. Can anyone name the 5 basic tastes? Anyone else?
Sweet, sour, hot, liquid.
Oh yeah, that's not a basic taste, but that's definitely something that we can sense in our savory. Okay,
Bitter.
3. Bitter. No, I forget what.
Salty.
Salty, yeah. I think someone said umami, so that's just another word
The list, so I just-
for savory. Oh, you guys just yeah.
Oh, you're
But I did
such
say
a
savory
cheater.
before I said umami.
Oopsie.
Cheater.
I said
And
savory.
what about why do these foods taste sweet or sour or bitter?
What's in it?
The
Sugar
yeah,
and
the
salt.
stuff that's in.
Right, the chemical compounds that they're made of, right? So sour is protons or hydrogen ions, saltiness is sodium ions, sweetness, there's glucose, other artificial sweeteners, some small proteins can taste sweet. Bitterness, you guys do you drink coffee?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so you love coffee. Bitter compounds are found in coffee, and umami is basically a lot of amino acids. So meat, cheese, they can all taste. Yeah.
What is a ion? Like, what is it made of?
It's a charged atom. It's an atom, just a charged particle.
Well, like, what kind of particle? Is it always the same particle that's charged?
No, they're depending on their like atomic makeup and how many electrons they have. They're different. Have you ever taken chemistry and seen the big chart that they show you, the periodic table? So that kind of lists all of the basic elements, and I'm not a chemistry person. There's a reason I chose biology.
So anything can be an ion if it's charged
No.
correctly?
I don't know. They're specifically very small, like.
Noble gases.
Huh? Not the noble gases. The noble gases are inert. And yeah. But proteins proteins are negative, or DNA is negative, and they're not ions, right? So it's not that anything that has a charge is an ion. Yeah.
They're charged because they have ions.
Yeah. Right. They're made of.
And
Yeah.
ions we define as cations and
Anions, right? Positive charge or negative charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, now that we've gone over kind of chemistry, let's look at the structure that make up our taste system. You guys know that you taste with your tongues. Have you felt the little bumps on your tongues?
Yeah.
Okay, those are called papillae. And you guys have different types of papillae, and you don't need to know them, but the tongue is covered with actually thousands of these small bumps. And each of these papillae has 100 or 150 taste buds in them, and the taste buds are kind of lined around here in this canal. And we have an average of 10,000 taste buds, but there's actually a lot of human individual variations. Some of you might be super tasters. Some of you might not taste as well. It depends on the density of your taste buds. And each taste bud actually contains, if you look at them over here, they contain taste receptor cells. So you guys have been familiarized with the concept of receptors, right? These are cells that allow you to taste. Yeah.
What is it like when you bite your tongue and there's like a bump there?
Oh, is that like I mean, tongue is a muscle. You might be able to like strain it in some way.
This is a local
Yeah.
inflammation. And
Local
part of the
inflammation.
general system, not
Mm.
for the taste system. It's
Okay.
a part of some other sensory system.
Yeah. Okay, and your taste receptor cells are replaced every 10 days. That just kind of shows you how important your taste system is, right? Your body wants to keep it fresh, and you want to be able to taste things, and they're replaced every 10 days. And now that we have the structure, we have tongues, we have taste receptor cells, but if we don't have the molecules that allow us to taste, we're not going to taste anything, right? These are the molecules that actually bind to and interact with the molecules in your food in order for you to taste these different compounds. And what do you guys notice about the organization of this taste pathway? You've been familiarized with it from the other senses. What do you guys notice?
Multiple in one.
Multiple what in one?
So you can sense every sense in each like receptor thing.
Okay, so you're saying that one receptor cell has all of the receptors?
Yeah.
Or does anyone see something different? Yeah.
I think that there's like different places on the tongue. Each.
So you're talking about the taste map, which actually is debunked.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. But, so what's actually happening is that you have a nice kind of channels, right? So this taste receptor cell only expresses the bitter receptor. This taste receptor cell only expresses the umami receptor. So each taste receptor cell only expresses one type of receptor. In that way, your brain can separate these tastes into these channels. And if you activate this cell, your brain is going to know, okay, I just tasted something sour. Yeah.
So that's one taste bud or taste receptor?
So this is a taste bud. So the group of taste cells is called the taste bud. Within the taste bud, there are these individual cells. They're actually not neurons, but they talk to neurons. These are the neurons that will go to the brain.
Gotcha.
Right? Okay, so if this taste receptor cell tells this neuron, I just got activated, your brain is going to say, oh, I just tasted something bitter. And these are all separate channels. So I'm going to test. Okay, so this is just to tell you that each taste has a dedicated receptor protein. Each taste cell has a dedicated, did I just repeat myself? So this is the thing you were talking about, this kind of myth that our tongue has these different regions that can sense different tastes preferentially, and scientists have not found any evidence for this. There might be some like preference in the back of your tongue for bitter and the front for sweet, but your tongue has like the papilla in the back and the papilla in the front, they all have all of the taste receptor cells. So you can taste all 5 tastes all over your tongue. Okay, so thought experiment. If I move the sweet taste receptor, if I moved all of the sweet receptors from the sweet taste cell into the bitter taste cell, and if you eat ice cream, what are you going to taste? Is ice cream going to taste sweet or bitter? Can everyone turn on their eye clickers? So I'm going to press start polling. One more? Can I get one more? Make sure they're turned on. Oh, are we missing someone today? Okay, I'm going to stop and then show the results. One person got really confused. But that's fine. Most of you got it right. You guys have been paying attention, and I'm really proud of you. Wait, hold on. But a good portion of you got it wrong. So let's go over it again, right? We move the sweet receptor to the bitter cell. So when you eat an ice cream, what's going to happen?
Tastes bitter.
What happens? So the receptor is going to bind to the sweet, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens to this cell? It's going to activate, and it's going to talk to this neuron that goes to the brain. And the brain has learned through development that if you activate this pathway, it's bitter. So ice cream is going to taste bitter. It doesn't matter how you turn the cell on, right? As long as you turn it on, maybe we can zap it with electricity. Maybe we can do something else to activate it. As long as you activate this one, your brain's going to say you tasted bitter. On the other hand, what happens if you knocked all the bitter receptors out? If you ate something bitter like coffee, will you be able to taste it? Taste the bitterness of it? No, right. So it's all about which cells gets activated, and our brain keeps the information separate that way. And this is a key concept, that the nature of sensation is not in the stimulus itself. The sweetness doesn't change, but in the brain's interpretation of that stimulus. And you guys have been learning this concept all along, all of this week, right? That's how we're able to trick your visual system with those visual illusions, and I think you guys did a lot of other illusions too. Yeah.
So are those like the primary colors? If you take salty out of there and you do a combination of all the rest of them, can you taste salty again?
Probably
Or
not.
salty only
Yeah, I think it depends on the activation of the salt cell.
Gotcha.
And I think if you are missing a cone, if you're missing the green cone, you won't be able to see green.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, but that's fine. We have 5 basic tastes, but how can we perceive so many different flavors? Flavor is complex, right?
Yes.
How do we do that? I think you guys already know. Someone else in the back? What else? What other senses do you need in order to taste food? Smell. Yeah. Actually, scientists think that as much as 80 to 90% of the taste of food comes from the nose. Has anyone gotten sick before and like had a sinus infection and tasted food? It doesn't really taste like anything, right? Bland. That happened to me during Thanksgiving one year. It was not fun. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually what's happening. Food particles will get into your tongue through these these pores, and then when you're chewing your food, what happens? You get this retronasal smell. So this is just different from when you're sniffing the food. This is actually when you chew on food, you release these airborne particles, and the airborne particles go back into your nasal cavity and tells your brain that you tasted something yummy. If you look at these pathways, right, if you follow this nerve back up into the brain, into the cortex, and you follow the olfactory system, the smell system, they actually go to the same part of the brain. So they converge in the same part of the brain, and that's how you're able to integrate smell and taste. So we're going to test this by tasting jelly beans. What you're going to do is take a handful of jelly beans and
Don't eat them right away.
don't eat them right away. You don't. Yeah, take 1 cup, pass it down. You're gonna pinch your nose. So put jelly beans in your mouth and pinch your nose closed.
Wait, all of them or just one?
It's up to you. I would do all of them. I would do all of them at once, but no cheating. You gotta pinch your nose first.
Those Bean Boozled things, I'm never trusting you.
Pinch your nose before you eat them, please. Okay. And so you're pinching your nose, you're chewing, right? Halfway through chewing them, release your nose. Notice the taste.
Oh.
You probably got the weird tasting jelly beans. What did you guys notice? What was your experience?
The black one tastes disgusting.
Yeah, that's why I only
Tasted it when you release your nose.
Right, what did you taste before it?
Nothing.
Nothing? Not even sweet?
I taste a little bit.
Maybe a little, right? Okay, so that's just kind of like a demonstration of what we just learned about smell. Taste is actually not just for the mouth. Where else would you want to have taste receptors? Huh?
the lips.
Lips, what did you say?
I said in the nose.
In the nose, good. Where else? Okay, sorry, I forgot this is the eye clicker question. Choose where you would want your body to have taste receptors. Start pulling.
Yes. It's crazy. These things link up instantly. That's the coolest thing.
Okay, one more. This person.
I don't know.
Okay, not waiting for that last person. Oh, there we go. Okay, most of you thought it was a nose, probably because I just talked about it. But I feel sorry to say that I gave you a trick question. All of these places actually express taste receptors, and it makes sense for some of this like GI tract stuff, right? Your body wants to know what you just ate. Maybe it could secrete some enzymes and hormones, but people don't really know why the bile duct has taste receptors. So it secretes things that break down fat in your stomach. That's yeah. Okay, so in the animal kingdom, obviously we're not the only species that taste things, and there's a lot of variety and a lot of diversity in how well animals can taste. Fish live in aqueous environments, so it makes sense that they would have, like the catfish at least would have taste receptors all over its body. Cows, you don't think that they, taste, why would they have so many taste buds if they just eat grass? I have no idea. I have no idea. Butterflies can taste with their feet, and octopus are pretty cool. They have taste buds on their suckers, and they have, a big octopus can have a lot of suckers on each leg. So anyway, Mother Nature is a cruel cruel person sometimes, and in this case, evolution has taken away the function of sweet receptors from these species, these 4. But so all birds cannot taste sweet. They have a non-functional sweet receptor. But the hummingbird, which specializes in nectar and that's really sugary, they actually regain the ability to taste sweet by modifying their umami receptor. So it's kind of cool. If you want to taste sweet and you're a bird, you got to work with something else that that can be modified. Do you know what these animals have in common? Maybe not the hummingbird, but think about these ones.
They're nocturnal.
No.
Really? I mean,
This is in broad daylight.
no, they're all
No.
carnivores.
Yeah, good job. So they all eat meat for a living. They're all predators. And what are the ancestors of birds? Dinosaurs. So they don't really need their sweet receptor if they're eating meat all the time. Okay, so we're going to test the key concept that we learned today, which is that the nature of sensation is not in the stimulus, but in the brain's interpretation of that stimulus. And what we're going to do is use the miracle fruit berry in order to alter your taste. If you know what this berry does, please don't tell anyone. Has anyone tasted the miracle berry before? Good, perfect. So this is a berry that has a compound called miraculin. That's the active compound. It's found in this fruit. It's a shrub from West Africa. And it's a protein that acts as a taste modifier. So what we're going to do is have you taste a bunch of different foods before and after taking this tablet. And you're going to tell me what happens. Okay. All right. Someone forgot their clicker.
Wait, what's going on?
Okay. Well, no clickers yet, but what did you guys think about the miracle fruit tablet by themselves? Did they have a strong taste?
It broke my tongue.
Disgusting. Oh my god.
And it tasted like tomato.
What? It was like tongue.
It tasted gross, but like, did it taste sweet?
No.
No.
Dry tomato.
It just tastes like powder. Okay.
Oh, it was so disgusting.
What happened to your taste perception after eating it?
It actually disappeared.
You couldn't taste sour anymore?
I tasted more sweet.
So we have one person tasted more sour.
My taste completely disappeared.
So one person completely just lost their taste. and then you lost your sour taste. So what did the lemon taste? Like sweet. All right.
Nothing.
It could be that like you might have to wait a few more minutes. This thing will act for 30 minutes. So the effect might be like peaking about now or something. How do you think miraculin works? Which receptor do you think it binds to? Okay, so you think it numbs the sour receptor. It's actually, scientists really haven't figured it out completely, but the consensus right now is that it binds to the sweet receptor, right? But when you tasted miraculin by itself, it didn't taste sweet. So it bound to the sweet receptor. What else do you need in order to taste sweet now? Sour, right? So this compound makes the sweet receptor activated in low pH, so in the presence of protons, yeah.
I saw a movie, I don't remember which one, it was like 7 years ago.
Uh-huh.
This dude was out in the woods with this little boy, and he put this like jungle fruit on him, on his wrist, and he tasted it in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing?
No. That sounds really Hollywood. Okay. So you guys all put
It
what?
sounds quite fictional, but theoretically, I think that could work. You know?
Okay.
It's just like-
Victor. Yeah.
It just, like for example, we can return a sight to someone by putting this thing that will send electricity to their brain. I think in the same way we're now doing these things called gene therapy, where we can put genes into our bodies to like treat some disease, for example, in blood cells. So if you put a taste receptor in your hands, you will be able, I think, to.
Well, if you don't have the right wiring.
Actually, I'm completely wrong.
Okay.
She's right.
Okay, you need the wiring and the molecules. So the college students also did this experiment, right? They tasted the same things that you tasted, and they published their data. So if you put your data in a chart, it might look something like this, right? The lemon taste is sweeter after the tablet. Jelly beans, they were sweet to begin with, so nothing changed. Goldfish, not really sweet to begin with, nothing changed, and sour candy increased. What they also did was they tasted a bunch of other sour things, right? So as a scientist, you want to make sure you're not wrong. So you want to make sure that this effect will work with other sour things. So these are other things that also increase in sweetness. And I didn't have time to give you guys anything bitter today, but when they tasted broccoli, the bitterness or the sweetness did not increase. Question?
Does this kind of show that there's a limit to how sweet we can taste things? Because all those cap out at around the same spot.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of an artifact of probably the scale. I only gave your scale only went up to 5 today. The college students only went up to 10. So I think this is just a way for everybody to normalize their data. Get out your clickers. This is the last question I'm going to ask you. So in the experiment, what was the purpose of the jelly beans and the goldfish? A, were they cleansers? B, were they negative controls because their taste should not have been affected? Or C, did they allow you to isolate which taste was likely altered? Or D, both, B and C. Two more. Awesome. Okay. Results. You guys are doing really well. No one chose the wrong answer. The right answer is D. I guess it kind of depends on. So if you knew that miraculin altered the sweet taste, then these things would have been kind of negative controls because they shouldn't have been changed. And then by tasting things that altered or acted on your other tastes, you can isolate that sweetness was increased. Or, yeah. Okay, so please don't eat a large amount of sour foods after this. The effect will last 30 minutes. Your sour foods doesn't change, right? The stimulus doesn't change. It's your perception that changed. So thank you for your attention. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be here after. And now, Maddie.